When does it get dark in Oregon right now?
Whenever it feels like it.
That was a bit aggressive. But
I don't know.
okay.
No, I have no idea.
It's so bright out right now.
I was just wondering what time, but that's okay.
Off the top of my head, I don't know. Probably like 9 o'clock.
We can keep an eye out for it.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's 8:30 right now. Let's see.
Like I was in Alaska when it was like it didn't get dark until like 2 a.m. or whatever. It was weird. It's so
9 o'clock.
Sweet.
It'll be dark.
30
That's
minutes.
crazy.
Let's watch the sun go down.
So what you're saying is we should shoot day exteriors in Portland.
yeah,
Yeah.
all the time.
Nice.
But Joe, I don't know. I'm going with that. You know, I don't know. Sorry, I was gonna try to make a transition into the intro.
Oh, you're our host today.
What's up, guys? This is One for Safety. I hope you like my transition. It's the best that I can come up with. I am the host. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Surprise.
Welcome back to the mainland, Leatrice.
Thank you.
Wait, what time does the sunset in Hawaii right now?
For us, it was 7.
Oh,
So then in Oahu, but then it got dark, like 7:30.
The more you know.
Well, how about that?
Is Hawaii on the same latitudinal plane as
I have no idea. You know, before I flew, I thought that Hawaii was just like 2 hours away. Turned out to be
No,
like
that's
6.
fine.
Yeah,
it's just fine.
it's like 5 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty far out there.
Yeah, well, this has been a far out there intro, so I'm gonna bring it back in and say this is One for Safety, everybody, and thanks for joining us. My name's Alex. I'm gonna be the host for this one.
Hi,
We got an
Alex.
interesting one. Hi, Dr. Alex. With me, as always, is Leatrice, Phillip,
Hey.
and
Howdy.
Moses.
Hi.
Thanks for joining, guys. I mean, you guys too. You're always here. I'm not doing this by myself, so nice to see your
Or
faces.
are you?
Maybe, yeah.
Are you
doing
just
this
the
by
best
myself.
ventriloquist to have ever existed?
I wish I was that talented at something. That would be amazing.
That'd be cool.
But
You're a very
something that-
talented cinematographer. Don't
Am
sell
I?
yourself short.
well,
Yeah.
who's to say? One thing I'm gonna try to be good at is talking about franchises, because that's what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
Video games, a little bit of movies, maybe some television, all the different kinds of franchises. Whether or not
What
there are
about
some really
books?
good ones. What
We
are
talk
the
about
ideal?
books?
We're talking about books. Yeah, you talk about books. You talk about whatever you want.
Wait,
Franchises.
what's the
That's what.
definition of a franchise?
Let's look it up before we continue. Before this intro continues, keep this in there. Who's ever editing? We're gonna look this up live. Wow, this is hard to find. A media franchise, also known as a multimedia franchise, is a collection of related media in which several derivative works have been produced from an original creative work of fiction, such as a film, a work of literature, a television program, or a video game. Boop it a boop, bop it a bop. Welcome to the franchise talk. Leatrice,
Oh, shit.
what are you having?
That was the nicest way I've ever heard derivative used. But
Yeah, it was.
I'm having a glass of
Ooh.
wine.
Damn, what a great
Wow.
choice for a talk about franchises.
Why?
I don't know, because if you talk about books, I just feel like it. I hope your franchise choices are all book related today.
No, of course not. I was gonna be about like Hunger Games.
Oh, hey, it's a book.
That's a book.
Yeah, it was a book.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's true. That's true.
Yeah. What kind of wine is that, Leatrice?
It's Apothic. I know you would appreciate.
Apothic Red.
Moses.
Apothic
Yeah, it's
blend.
Apothic Red.
Which one?
No,
Apothic Red.
that's a
The-
white
I
wine,
mean,
Moses.
It's isn't it just Apothic Red? And there's like
There's different
Inferno or-
ones. There's different ones. Yeah.
I don't know.
Apothic Red it is. There you go.
Apothic Red it is.
Have you had it before? Is this your first
Yeah.
drink? Oh, okay.
No, it's because my housemates tend to get this.
Yeah.
And then
We'll insert an opening of a bottle sound here. You know.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The cork.
Little cork
Okay,
pop.
okay, yes. Anyway, it's good. I've had it before. So moving on. Who's next?
So I too
Wow.
am having a glass of wine.
Wow.
Was that wine? I thought that was whiskey, to be honest.
Oh
when you
no,
held
this
that
is
out.
wine. It's
Oh,
a it's a
It's a
moscato.
rosé.
It's a
Oh, so it's a
sweet
dessert
wine.
wine.
Yeah.
You know what they say about
um,
Moscatos?
My roommate bought a box of it, and
Box of wine is the
I
best.
don't think it's very good.
Ooh. I just. Nope.
Did
I mean,
you
it's-
open the box and then see the bag inside, try to drink it, and then slap the bag?
No, I
Apparently,
did.
that's a thing that people do.
What?
Like an IV? You just stick it into your veins?
I will not be doing that. I instead will be drinking it out of my Mercedes-Benz cup that I
Yeah.
found on the side of the road.
Wait,
Wait,
what?
There's so
Okay,
much weird
Okay.
shit about that.
So Portland has this like culture where people, when they don't want things, will put it out like free boxes all over the city.
That's an
And
LA
we have
thing.
gotten so much good shit. Like we just found a record holder outside for like holding your
Huh.
vinyls and stuff.
Yeah.
We got like these
Yeah,
wine
yeah.
glasses. What else have we gotten? We got a waffle maker yesterday.
What the fuck?
That's
Who puts
so
a waffle
crazy.
maker outside? That's weird.
I don't know, but it works.
That's crazy because the only thing that I see on the side of the street are like old mattresses, and no one's.
Yeah.
Yeah, no one's taking
Yeah.
that shit.
Uh-uh.
There's like those book things that people have sometimes where it's like take a book, leave a book.
The free
Oh,
library.
yeah.
The nicest thing that we found is a pair of working Bluetooth capable Beats headphones.
Wow.
That guy's
We should go to
that
Portland
person.
if
Yeah.
we need things now.
All right, let's pick up and move.
Wait, Alex, you said Moscato. What do they say about Moscato?
I can't tell you. You just have to know. Is Portland the
Oh,
Costco?
that was so secretive.
Don't worry about it. Moses, what you having?
So actually, I went to the Royal Shell yesterday.
Oh, wow.
And,
By
How
How dare
yourself.
you not
I
ask?
went by
dare
my,
you?
well because I went to the little flower shop across the street because I was gonna get something for my mom for Mother's Day. So I said, you know
wow,
what,
you're such
I'll
a
get
good
something for
son.
her, and then I'll get something for me. So I walked over
So you got yourself flowers, and then you got her beer.
I got her a
Pat
beer.
yourself
yeah.
on the
That's
back
right.
for treating your mom to flowers with some beer.
I know.
Yep.
I know.
Good job.
But this one is actually kind of cool. It looks like a 1930s horror film movie poster. I don't know if you guys can see it.
I thought
But
you said a 1930s horror film.
I
Oh,
there's
no.
the same thing, and I didn't want to say it. I was like, no, I'll let that one
Horror.
go.
horror. But
I'd like to see what 1930s horror films look like, though.
I really like the art on that can.
Yeah, it's great.
that's why I
It's
got
so
it.
good.
And
What's
I'm
it
pretty
called?
sure
Horror
I'm
indie.
pretty sure it's called
That's Bill.
What the
That's Bill
Fuck?
Hader.
Is that Bill Hader?
Is
It
it
looks
Bill?
like Bill Hader.
No, it just looks like him.
Oh, Paperback. Paperback is good. That's the one that had I got the bunny with a chainsaw from.
Mm.
They're from Burbank, apparently. I don't know if they make all the beer in Burbank, but there's a
Oh really?
Burbank location.
Burbankian.
Well, it's a West Coast IPA, so here we go. I'm gonna do it.
Hell yeah.
But it's called What the Fuck, but the caption of it is she was half demon, half babe, and all surprises.
That's a horror film.
That's
Yeah,
a horror.
that's I think we were right the first time.
All right, here we go. here we go.
1930s.
Yeah, it's good.
All
I
right.
like it.
Do your taste buds feel scared?
Yeah,
Or
they
the other thing.
But also tantalized.
Hmm?
they're very,
Pleased
very,
with it.
very, very pleased. I'll say that. Yeah.
Okay.
All
All right. Well, Alex, go for it. What do you got?
We were talking earlier, Moses. I said when you brought up
true,
that
we
you
were.
were a duck, that my beer would reflect that later.
So out of context. but yes,
This
go
beer
ahead.
I saw and I decided to grab the can is called Duckzilla, and it's just a giant
Oh,
duck
shit.
like Godzilla. It's a double
That's
white.
pretty cool.
Is
Yeah.
there at least like a skyscraper so that we can get? You know,
Oh yeah, there's some scratch. It's really wet right now. I don't want to drip on my keyboard. I'll bring it close. Right
Oh,
there.
that's a
Boop.
big
Oh, yeah.
duck.
That's
a big.
Look at the meaty arms on that duck.
Yeah, dude, he's got
Oh,
some
yeah.
thick ass arms. That's
With 3 C's
four-
right there.
I had like a 4C, bro. I think the
Oh.
4C arms.
That duck's got some gains.
Okay, here we go.
Nice, nice.
Smells like a duck.
You know, today I had to go return something at the mall, and there was a duck sitting on the top part of it was like a 10-foot tall ledge with flowers. I don't know how it got up there, and it flew straight at me, and I screamed.
That sounds about right for ducks. I thought you were about to say a 10-foot tall duck, and I was about to be really terrified.
That'd be a
things were
Duckzilla.
coming.
No, the
yeah.
duck was really big though. Or maybe it was a goose.
That reminds me of the age-old question: would you rather fight 100 normal-sized ducks, or one duck 100 times the size of a regular duck?
Wow.
Big duck.
100 ducks.
Yeah.
I think I'd take 100 ducks.
Big.
I take
Yeah.
one big duck.
I'd go for a big duck too.
I'd smack the shit. I'd kick that big duck in the knees and I'd bring him down.
What? But 100 times bigger than a regular duck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd kick that duck in the knee and he'd go. Look, have you seen little duck legs before? There's no
But
no
it's
meat
100
on those
times
legs.
bigger than a regular
Yeah,
duck.
which means they're
So
like 100 times bigger than a
regular
stick.
Duck knee is going to be the size of a sequoia
A
tree
regular
trunk.
knee. A regular knee.
No.
I just feel like
it's gonna be like our knees. I'll just kick
100
that shit.
times.
He can't
I feel
support
like,
his weight. He
I
can't
feel like
support-
100 ducks would just tear me apart, and
Is it in the water
there's
or is
nothing
it
I
on
can do, you know.
I hope it's on land, right? Because if
They'll
it's in the
overwhelm
water,
you.
then-
100 ducks will overwhelm the shit out of you. Have you seen like 15 ducks? That shit's already terrifying. 100 ducks?
Yeah.
I feel like it would just
Be
be like a
dead.
300 moment where you're like, like one hit KOing a bunch of ducks.
kick them
Yeah.
down the well.
No, dude. Those things will overwhelm the shit out of you real quick. One duck, look what it did to you. 10 feet, jump. Like, imagine that 100 times. That shit, you're dead. You're fucked.
Because it was
One
a
big-
huge duck.
That big duck, you
And
can't
I'm
move.
just thinking about an even bigger duck coming at me. And
Yeah,
I'm just
but
like,
just
no,
run
I
away.
can't take that.
They're
but
slow, you're
if
good.
it was if it was at least a regular sized duck, I wouldn't be as scared. But it
You
was a
tame-
big duck.
Was his name
Anyway, this
Howard?
beer's fine. It's a good idea. But yeah, just like I'd tame that duck and I just ride it around town or something. It would be cool. I'll kick in the knee.
Hell yeah.
Is it on water or is this on land?
It was on land, right?
It is on land, yeah.
Oh, okay, we're good. Okay, water, neither. That's
Alright.
terrifying.
Well, bottoms up like a duck. Here we go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yep.
Nom 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 nom.
All right, so moving on to our artist spotlight, which is Ramblings Productions, good friends of the show, Richard Hernandez, who is a filmmaker out of East Los Angeles, and Ramblings Productions is his production company, which is a collective of different artists and filmmakers, just a little bit of everything. But I will just read what he sent us to read to you to kind of describe what he and Ramblings Productions does to give you a better idea. So here's what Richard had to say. A collective of independent artists from East Los Angeles, Ramblings was made with the intention to help local artists to help produce their content or upcoming project. Our website acts as a hub for local filmmakers and musicians to help showcase and promote their work, which you can log on to check out the catalog and any news on upcoming projects at ramblingsproductions.com. But yeah,
Nice.
Richard is a very unique and great filmmaker. I've watched his career, even just him as a student. I used to actually TA him back in the day at Pasadena City College, and watching him grow as a filmmaker has been awesome. And he a few years ago did his first feature film, and was really cool and really interesting. And I think that was making the festival run. I don't know if it's still doing that, but yeah, he's definitely inspiring to watch his creative process. So good on you, Richard, and keep doing what you're doing. We really love your work. So yeah,
Stick to your style. It's wonderful.
yeah, that's always been.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and he
sorry.
also has a very good eye for that kind of East LA part of town. I think he shows it in a very unique light. So definitely check it out. You're gonna see a different side to LA.
That's very true. He definitely looks at
The
LA
east
in a
side
different
of
way.
LA.
Yeah, that you don't normally see. He's a very unique
Yeah.
filmmaker. But moving on to our weekly obsessions. Does anyone have Does anyone have any this week?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got one. Leatrice, you go first.
Let's see. So the doctor in my clinic, weirdly enough, told me to watch this show. Not Dr. Lau, but his name is Dr. Cock, and he has he's usually a big fantasy person. He loves Star Wars. He was obsessed with Game of Thrones for a little bit, and then he told me to watch a series on Netflix called Shadow and Bone, and then I saw the trailer for it, and I was just like, this looks terrible. And then I decided to download the series for the plane just to see, because if I got bored, then I would just give it a shot, and there's no I'm not gonna run away from it there. So I decided to watch it, and then I was thinking, wow, this pilot really hooked me in. It was very well done, and I just kept thinking, Netflix did this? Have they finally broken the B grade curse? I was just like, wow.
Whoa.
And then
Whoa,
yeah.
that good?
Hold on,
Wait,
yeah.
whoa.
Ooh, hot
The
take.
pilot
That's a hot-
was. The pilot was. And then,
But I'm saying,
well,
do you think all Netflix things are even after the pilot or
for a lot
you
of
know?
their series that are like big concept or fantasy driven, that's not really I don't know the right word for it, but it has some sort of VFX or action to it. It feels like a lower
Yeah.
quality or lower budget series usually.
Well,
Have
But
you
for them
watched
to
Altered
venture
Carbon?
into like fantasy and like full blown fantasy, there's a lot of VFX in it. I was like,
Yeah.
I didn't expect much, but the trailer made it feel like a young adult thing, and I just, past the Twilight days now, so I just wasn't sure. And the rest of there are a lot of things in the series.
There's
where
no
it's still
getting
very-
past Twilight, Leatrice. There's
Not
no
the first
getting
movie.
past
The first
Twilight.
movie will
Yeah.
always have a special place in my heart.
Never past that one. After that, yeah, sure, go ahead, pass.
But overall, I think that it did a really great job with not being. They didn't play to tokenism with its cast and diversity. It's very diverse in a natural way, which I didn't think Netflix could do after I watched The Witcher.
Wait, what? That's that. What do you mean by about The Witcher?
I felt like a
that's
lot
like-
of the characters that they decided to cast for The Witcher, they weren't the same characters that were in the series, and they wanted a very diverse cast. So then they put people in their place that didn't feel the same as the actual characters from the franchise, game wise. Yeah.
Interesting take. Very interesting takes.
Hmm.
Anyway, I'm glad you're liking Shadow and Bone.
Yeah, it was fun. I finished it.
Oh wow! Wait, what?
Wow.
How long is it?
It's like 7-8 episodes.
Damn.
So half
30 minutes?
Half when I went
30 minutes
there,
each?
and then no, a little less. I mean, a little more than that.
Oh, okay.
Can't remember, but yeah.
Damn. Nice. Beasted through that.
Mhm.
I'll have to check it out now. If you're saying it is pretty good.
Yeah, at least
Always
the
looking
pilot
for-
is. The first two
Yeah, yeah.
episodes actually kind of
Mhm.
suck you in.
Nice.
All right.
Moses. Weekly obsession.
Yeah, I guess my obsession just kind of started today. Actually,
I had a feeling you were gonna say this one.
yeah.
Okay.
Nine Inch Nails did a collaboration with the group Health, and they released a song today called "Isn't Everybody?" And oh my god, like, I mean, I'm a big fan of Nine Inch Nails, so when I heard it, I was like, wow, this song is really good, and like a lot of things don't affect me heavily like this did apparently, because like I texted my girlfriend like, hey, listen to this song, I think you might like it, even though I know she won't like it. But I texted it to Alex. I'm like, oh, I'm obsessed with this song, you should check it out, I really like it. And and I don't ever do that. Like, I don't ever tell people to listen to things, because I know like my musical tastes are far different than majority of my friends. So I just kind of like stay quiet, stay in my little bubble, I guess you could say. But yeah, I had it on repeat like majority of the day today, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna be on repeat for the rest of the week. But yeah, listen to it. So
I can attest to this Moses not sharing thing. So it was actually quite a surprise for me when I was like, oh wow, he's recommending a song. Like, okay, like,
Yeah.
and I was like, I'll take this seriously,
yeah, like I said, I never do it, and like it's only when like content affects me in a certain way, and like I'm not great at describing how things make me feel, but this one I'm just like, yeah, this just hits different.
Is it metal? Is it metal?
No, so
I know Nine Inch Nails isn't really just metal, but
yeah, it's more like
Yeah.
like industrial rock, like synth 80s kind of feel. So
Health is more, from what I can tell. I haven't heard a lot of Health music, but from this song, it's like vapor wavy, like electronic kind of vibe. Like
Yeah.
it's
I would definitely say like synth electronic.
Have you listened to a lot of Nine Inch Nails, Leatrice?
not often. I just listen to Trent Reznor and his.
I'm curious
That's
what
one
you
half
think.
of nine. That's a big part of Nine Inch Nails right there.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what you think, because I had my thoughts that I shared with Moses. And,
Okay,
but
I'll take a listen.
I will not share.
Yeah,
Okay,
Trent Reznor's doing pretty good for himself lately.
Yeah, man.
He's always
pulled
been.
away
Yeah.
an
He's always been
Oscar
great.
That's
for
his second
Soul
Oscar.
of all things.
Oh yeah.
No, yeah, but
Yeah.
that's his second one. He won his first one was Social Network.
Social Network. Yep.
And then
Oh yeah.
the man has 2 Oscars. Crazy.
and a bunch of Grammys, and yeah.
It's a great musician.
Too bad he can't act or sing. Well, I guess
Well,
he can
we
sing,
don't know
but
that.
You could definitely act,
maybe.
probably.
Oh, what if he
I could see it.
EGOTs? That'd be crazy.
You got?
Yeah, you guys know what an EGOT is?
Oh, it's like all the Emmy,
Yeah,
Oh.
we get
Grammy,
an
Tony?
Emmy, Grammy, Oscar,
Tony.
and a Tony. Yeah.
I don't think he's going to get Tony. I don't see him going on stage.
No.
Trent Reznor, the musical.
Trent Reznor in Death of a Salesman.
Oh, he could be in that.
Trent Reznor is Hamilton.
Oh, no, definitely not that.
Is it? Wait, hold on. Is that mean like did they change the music to sound like Nine Inch Nails for that Hamilton take? Is it like it's all like industrial? you know?
No,
Like-
he's actually doing his best impression to be Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Okay, that's awesome.
What if he writes his own thing?
Oh, that's fair. He could write his own.
What if it's
and he could
what
win a
if
Tony
it's
that
like
way.
Trey Parker and Matt Stone? You know, when they wrote the Book of Mormon.
Shit
What
was
if
so
he-
good.
What if he
I still
writes
haven't
his own
seen it.
thing?
Oh my
Yeah.
god, it's hilarious. It's
You
such a
never
good
know.
musical.
You're right. Good point.
Mm.
Yeah, I also have moving on to I guess just keep it going. I have a weekly obsession. I actually technically have two. My real obsession really is Miles Morales, Spider-Man, the Spider-Man game.
The game.
I kind of went back to it after like a 4-month hiatus, and I was like, damn, this shit's really good. Replaying it, but the one I really wanted to talk about was so that's like kind of it. But like, if you haven't seen Yasuke yet, which is the new anime that came out from that I think is
It's from
it's
Lakeith,
Flying
right?
Lotus. Flying Lotus did the music for it, and
No
Lakeith Stanfield is the executive producer,
Whoa.
and he's in it, and he's the main voice of Yasuke, who's this black samurai.
Okay.
And it's not even necessarily like the anime is that good. Like I've only gone about halfway through. The visual style is very interesting. The music is fantastic, and Lakeith is good as always. But it's just like I'm really like just like that it's so unique, and you don't usually see a lot of I feel like black characters in anime, so it's really interesting to see. So I just like want to give it a shout out purely from the perspective of like good on them for making something that you don't see a lot of.
Wait,
And
where is it from?
it's a
Netflix.
Netflix.
Oh, it is a
and
Netflix.
It's really short. It's 6 episodes. I don't even know. I could have finished it already, but I guess I'm just like had a busy week and haven't had a chance to finish it. But it's the music is, if anything, the price of admission is the music and the really interesting, really weird Japan world that they've created, because it's like based in like the Edo period or like some really like old period, but then there's like robots and magic, and it's like really weird
so
and
it's not like-
I
surreal.
love
It's not like
retrofuturism.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not like
it's-
samurai shampoo kind of thing. That's what I was imagining when you
no.
said samurai.
But like, if you took the kind of like, it's not as good of music. I mean, it's really good music too. I don't want to compare those two. They're different kinds of music, but like, yeah, sort of. Like you get this weird like hip hop type of soundtrack mixed with like samurai kind of action. It's kind of gory and violent, but yeah, the stuff is really interesting. The world that they've created. But yeah, I just want to like, talk about that because I just think it's really interesting. So I'll say that is my weekly obsession,
Nice.
if anything. But yeah, Yasuke.
Also, an update. It is 9 o'clock, and I can still see some light outside of Philip's window.
This is true. I see some blue.
Wow.
We gotta hurry. If it gets too dark,
Otherwise-
the vampires come.
Oh.
No, the Moscato keeps getting better.
I think Moscato gets better at night.
I pick it up and my Moscato is actually just blood this time.
Oh,
Got fangs.
That's intense. You know what's also intense is the topic of this show, and it's about franchises.
Is it?
So, not really. It's not intense at all. We're gonna get to the real meat of everything. Yeah.
Hard-hitting investigative.
What does it mean to be a franchise? But yeah, moving on to the top of the show. Let's ease ourselves in. Anyone got any favorite franchises? And it could be anything, like we've discussed. It could be anime.
Lord of the Rings.
I was literally about to say Lord of the Rings. Only because, and I mentioned this earlier, because I did say I don't read, but Lord of the Rings was one of the only franchises that I almost finished, I should say. I think I read like The Hobbit and like The Fellowship, but yeah,
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings.
Start.
And obviously the movies. Even though like the Hobbit ones weren't that great, like I still enjoyed it. Like I liked it.
Yeah, it's harmless.
Did you
Yeah.
ever play the Lord of the Rings game on like PlayStation
Dude.
2?
So
No.
fuck.
So fucking bomb.
I was just thinking about it. It was so good. It's so like. I feel like we
Really?
were talking last week about the other way, right? Like video games to movies don't tend to
Mhm.
work, but like sometimes movies to video games get that shit really good. And Lord of the Rings was like,
I'm not saying that LucasArts was making some of the best and most innovative games in the 90s, but LucasArts was making some of the best and most innovative games during the 90s. And they
Yeah,
were
dude.
Star Wars games.
fuck yeah,
Yeah.
dude. I loved like the Phantom Menace one that they made, which was I think on
Oh
the
my god, like the
PlayStation
isometric
one.
one where you like
It was
run
so
around and, like,
terrible. Yeah, it's
So
terrible.
bad.
But as a kid, like I was like, this is amazing, you know? Like
Did you ever play
uh,
Jedi Knight, Jedi Outcast?
No.
yeah, also fantastic.
That is one of my all-time favorite games.
Yeah, dude. I mean,
But we're not here to talk about Star Wars. I think it goes without
In
saying.
a way, you are. It's a franchise.
I'm surprised no one brought up Harry Potter. I think Harry Potter needs to get
That's
some
my
major
number 2.
respect.
I mean, I'm
Yeah.
literally wearing the
Oh.
glasses.
Yes, it's true. You are Harry Potter.
Wait, are those
Um,
Harry
what?
Potter's signatures?
Yeah, he straight up murdered Harry Potter. For
No,
those
yeah,
purposes.
I
Oh,
pulled
wow.
these off of Harry Potter's corpse.
yeah.
Avada Kedavra?
Mhm.
Wow.
No,
Whoa, don't
actually, it
say
was a
that.
9mm.
Jesus. Oh yeah, just like that video where it's like all they replace everything with guns. It's so good.
Oh, so funny.
Wow. Wow. No wands necessary for that
You
homicide.
don't, dude. Why did no one try that? You know, like why didn't anyone pull up on Voldemort and just be like, "What's up, dog?" And then it's like, "Get him." You know, no one tried.
Yeah. I once saw this TikTok where a guy from the hood gets into Hogwarts. Oh my god. I'm gonna try and see if I can find it.
Yes.
I'm gonna try and see if I can find it because it was hilarious. Oh
I
my
know.
God.
I wanted to know. Yeah.
I saw this one that was like conservative wizards. It was so funny.
That's
You
so
see, this
good.
is what franchises offer. It's just like,
True.
yeah, it's just great meme content because they overtake popular culture so well sometimes that it's just universal. In every part of the world, they're probably imagining themselves like, what would it be like if I went to Hogwarts? And
Oh,
then
hell yeah.
it's some Japanese kid being bullied about anime or something like that. And his
Yeah.
special wand creates like something like, yeah, it's fun. Franchises.
I used to
make
think
this.
that, dude. When I was a kid, I was like, man, I wish I could be a wizard. That'd be sick as hell. Like, you know, in all these
Yeah.
franchises, I wish I was a Jedi. I don't know about Lord of the Rings. That one's like the one I probably would not want to
Do
be
you want
part
to be
of.
a hobbit or a
Yeah,
dwarf?
that would be sick.
Okay,
dude.
wait. To be honest, every time I go backpacking, I think about The Hobbit.
Do you have just the theme song playing in your head?
Absolutely. Yeah.
It won't be. It's not gonna be a podcast unless Moses sings. I'm glad you threw
know.
that in there. Thank you.
I know.
So obviously we could just keep listing off ones, but that would just be a ridiculous episode of us just listing things. But moving on, in the case of these and other ones, what makes a successful franchise in your guys' mind?
I think that depends on if we're talking from like an economic success standpoint or from like a cultural success standpoint. But now that I'm thinking about it, I think those kind of become one and the same thing when we're talking about franchises.
Yeah.
And I think like the bottom line is merchandisability. Because like if you think about the first big huge franchise, like one of the first big ones was Star Wars. And
Yeah.
Star Wars changed the game for movies because it was the first movie to merchandise itself.
Mhm.
There's like an anecdotal piece of evidence about that is that George Lucas actually waived the money
yeah.
that he would make as a director
Oh yeah.
in order to like make the movie and get more of that budget, and in return he just said, I just want like the merchandising rights. And like, you know, 20th Century Fox was like, fuck it, okay, you could make like your $30 off of t-shirts or whatever. And like today, like that share is worth like $7 billion or something crazy.
That's fucking wild.
There's a documentary. I think it's on Disney Plus where George Lucas is explaining that total situation, and like Phillip said, he like foregone everything. Like he took almost nothing in pay, and he's like, nope, I just want the merchandising rights, and made him a billionaire.
That's so wild.
I think
so smart.
if I'm not wrong, and please correct me on this, audience, but I think that Star Wars was the first toy franchise to also have the 3/4 scale of like the 7-inch tall action figures. Like everything at the time was GI Joe size of like the Barbie doll kind of scale, and then
Oh, I didn't know
they
that.
came out. They like invented the action figure,
Oh,
shit.
and that was a huge deal.
I mean,
That-
I don't
that
know if
was
you're
also
right or wrong.
Kind of a failure too, because Star Wars
What?
was like so popular that all these kids wanted action figures, and like they just could not,
Yeah.
mass produce them fast enough. So they would send people like vouchers for like, next Christmas you can get your
Right.
your Han Solo action figure, and then like so everyone would send it, and they still couldn't fill the orders. Like that's how massive.
Yeah. Well,
merchandising
I don't
hit
even
it
think it was
was.
owned by Hasbro at the time, because Hasbro bought
Or-
out the company that started because nobody else would take the Star Wars license. Nobody wanted it because they thought like, oh, this is just some like BS indie movie. Like, what am I gonna do with this? And some like random company that I don't even know if they made like figures at the time. Like
Was it
they took it the
Kenner?
license.
Was it Kenner?
It might be Kenner.
think-
There's
I
a
think
great
it was.
episode of The Toys That Made Us on Netflix about it.
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah.
if anybody is interested in like the history of toys, I highly recommend that show. It's really interesting.
Do you
Yeah,
think?
definitely.
Do you think this? Oh, hey, Inoki. So,
He wants to be part of the podcast.
uh,
So
I-
loud.
Get him a mic.
Yeah.
I know that merchandising is it. I kind of think that it's proof of a successful franchise, but does it make it a good franchise though? Like,
Yeah.
I
that's
think-
what I wonder, because right now it's hard to say because Star Wars has been kind of warped by Disney, and even the original 3 movies, we always had. Well, no, the original film, A New Hope. We talked about whether it's a good film or not, but the franchise itself turned out to be an amazing franchise because the way the world was built around it after that. But other franchises, just because they're highly marketable, do you think that makes it a good
Well,
franchise?
I
Yeah,
think
it
that
depends.
that's kind of a difference. Like, is it a good franchise or is it a successful franchise? Because do you guys know what the most successful franchise of all time is?
Is it Resident Evil?
Fast and Furious.
It's Pokemon.
Oh, that makes
that
Pokemon
makes
is
sense.
the most successful franchise like on the planet, and it's like far and away.
really even above Star Wars?
Yeah, like Star Wars is actually
Wow.
like pretty far down on the list of franchises. And
Wow.
it's because of the marketability of like Pokemon cards and video games and backpacks and toys and like
Yeah.
like movies only come out once every couple years, but like toys you can sell 12 months a year, every day,
Yeah.
7 days a week, and you can just keep release, especially, and like Pokemon lends itself to merchandisability with like 150 Pokemon, 200 Pokemon, 700 Pokemon. Grab your mom's credit card because there's more toys coming out.
That's crazy. I
Wow.
never actually thought about.
Oh wait, no, Star Wars. Star Wars isn't that low, by the way.
Oh.
Star Wars is number 5. Apparently,
Okay.
I just looked at the list.
Wait, what are the top 5? So far, Star Wars is 5. Pokemon is 1.
Yeah. So number 1, Pokemon. Over estimated $100 billion.
Jesus Christ. And their
That's like
games
hun-
are
that's like-
still shite.
Number 2 is Hello Kitty.
No.
Really?
According to this list,
Merchandisability.
It's Wikipedia. Guys.
It's hard for me to even consider Hello Kitty a franchise. That's crazy.
And it's
Well,
funny because it's one of the.
yeah.
It's not even that old. Yeah, merchandise sales is $84 billion.
What did Hello Kitty start off as?
I thought it like
Franchise.
a commercial character or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I
Was
think it
it?
was a show, right?
I remember
It was a
like
cartoon, it was a cartoon.
when I
character.
was in school, like people would have like Hello Kitty like pencil bags
Yeah.
or like backpacks, but I never knew like what it was. And then like there was the spin-off of Hello Kitty, right? Which was it Kurobi?
Kurobi, yeah. I loved Kurobi. It was like this cute.
Really? I would see it everywhere, but I never knew like where it came from. So
It's Japan.
Yeah.
well, yeah, Japan.
Came from Japan. Japan, they know their franchises. Number 3 is Winnie the Pooh.
Mm.
Winnie the Pooh is
Really?
80 billion. I mean, that's also really old. I mean, it's like the
Yeah.
oldest one on this list, I think.
Yeah,
Number
yeah.
4 isn't a surprise. Mickey Mouse and Friends.
Really, Winnie the Pooh over Mickey Mouse.
By like it looks like barely. It's the exact same amount of money, so maybe it's the same. They're also about the same age. Like they're both like 90 years old or some shit. And then number 5 is Star Wars.
Huh.
That's the top 5.
Where does Harry Potter rank on that list?
Yeah, I'm curious.
10. Marvel is now above that, and Mario's above that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Pan Man? What the fuck is Pan Man?
What?
I don't know what that is.
I think this like pulls back into question about what Leatrice
Yeah.
was asking of like, is it
Yeah.
a good franchise? And I don't think that some of those things on that list are necessarily good franchises, but they are successful. Like to say that Hello Kitty itself is like, it's undeniably a successful franchise. I don't know that it's a good franchise in the way that we think of when we talk about like modern media, like movies, TV, video games, music, you know.
Yeah, which brings up points that I wanted to talk about is that like one thing I want to talk about is like, do you think franchises are created or like bought? Like, do you think like at some point is it about the creation? Do you think it's about the marketability? Like, are people actually trying to make something because they're like, I want to make some good films moving forward, or I want to make some good content? But really, is it just more like once they hit a successful level, it's just all about money at that point?
I mean, if you look at Hollywood, it's definitely about the money, right? It's not.
Yeah.
I think that people who hook onto what they think is a good series or a good single film, the reason they fall in love with it and make it popular then becomes a business venture for media. I think that after something becomes successful across the board, that's when I think it has the chance to become taken advantage of, or now it's warped into something that is weaker. I don't know about Fast and Furious. That's a weird one because the first
was
like
good.
3 films, sure, but after that I don't understand the appeal.
Well, 5 was pretty good. It actually there was a point it like did a weird resurgence. Like I think 1 was good. I think 2 wasn't very good. I think 3 was fun.
3 was...
Tokyo Drift.
Yeah.
And then I think when they kind of booted it with like 4 and 5, those were actually kind of good. And then it like, I think what's his name got involved? Justin Lin.
Justin
Yeah.
Lin.
So it's Justin Lin who directed. When he took over, I think the first few were actually really good, and then it eventually got to a point of absurdity, and it just continues to be more absurd. You know.
Let's go to outer space.
Yeah. It's almost like that part in like Tropic Thunder where like they're talking about Ben Stiller's films, his character's films, and they just get more and more and more and more ridiculous as it goes on. It's a very telling part about franchises, which is really kind of true.
Yeah. Wait, Alex, what was your question again? I'm sorry.
It's just that our franchises like created or they bought. Like eventually, yeah, and which I can transition to another question because I have things that kind of going along with this. Is the goal for something like a Star Wars, or other like a Fast and Furious, was their ultimate goal to be like, we're gonna make fucking 15 of these, or a Pokemon where they're like, we're gonna make this thing is gonna go on for fucking ever, you know?
I don't think so. I think that it kind of depends on the franchise, because I don't think you can make a blanket statement about all these things, because I mean, I think if you look at a source material like Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings, those were never meant to be franchises at the time of their inception.
Yeah.
Like J.R.R. Tolkien didn't write Lord of the Rings hoping to get movies and book deals and franchises. Like, he was telling a story, and J.K. Rowling, the same can be said about what she was doing. But I think the point at which it becomes a franchise, so when IPs get consumed, when they get bought with the intent to create a franchise, I think that's the point where like the line gets drawn from it being just source material to being a franchise. And I think at that point it's solely about the money.
Yeah. Which brings me to my next question is that do you think franchises can exist without being financially successful?
I mean, plenty of them do.
Or is it inherently is it being a franchise mean it has to be successful financially?
No, I don't think so. There can be like under the radar type of franchises where they have a cult following and
Mhm.
the material it happens primarily with books, right? Usually,
Mm.
or like games, obscure games made by independent companies that have turned something into a franchise. Well, I don't always measure it
Mhm.
to the scope of big businesses, I guess.
So then I'm curious, what are some,
Yeah.
I guess, successful franchises that don't essentially become successfully financially?
Yeah, that's something I'm curious about too. Do you have an example that you can think of? Because like I feel like I can't. Like I feel like almost all of them eventually become financially successful. They almost have to inherently.
Well, I think,
Because-
yeah. I think that if you want to be a successful franchise or a good
Mhm.
franchise, you kind of have to be financially successful, or you can't continue to create content.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But I do think we also see a lot of things set up that can be financially successful that aren't good franchises, that don't actually ultimately succeed as franchises.
I was gonna say Divergent, the Divergent
Yeah.
series, at least the
Mm.
films.
Yeah.
Young adult
That turned out
series
being-
were ripe for the picking when Twilight came out.
Oh
Yeah, everyone was
Yeah.
trying to get their hands on whatever they could. You know.
Yeah.
It was like Hunger Games was successful. Twilight was successful. Harry Potter. I think technically Harry Potter was like what set off that train. And
But it
then
doesn't
was,
feel like a young adult. It felt like a.
Well, it was. I mean,
Well, I think it's because
Yeah.
I think of young adult as in like cheesy romances with
If you-
very
that first
unhealthy
one.
type of relationship ideals.
yeah. True. So you're
yeah.
talking about purely the romance part of it. It's like
Yeah,
what you feel.
YA romance.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess and there is romance in Harry Potter eventually.
Yeah.
I always considered Harry Potter like fantasy adventure. Like it was a coming of age fantasy adventure versus like YA.
because you grew
Yeah.
up with it. You became the adult.
Well,
Okay,
I think
sure.
there's something to be said about the fact that Harry Potter is written for a range of ages, where like
Yeah.
the first book is written for younger kids, and like as you get older and as you go through the book series, it's like tailored to people as they get older and older, and they get more and more mature. Where young adult novels typically are like for 15 to 17-year-olds, like they're really just trying to like nail that home, and they
Oh
don't
yeah,
So-
grow
trust
with
me,
you as a
some
reader.
some scenes from
So
Shadow
I
and
kn-
Bone, I was like, this is made for the 14-year-old girl in her room right now. Yeah, I see
Yeah.
it.
So I never read the Harry Potter books, but like, is the
Oh my
tone? We've gone through this. I don't read, but, but is the tone in like the first book to the second one like drastically different, like it is
Yes.
in the films?
I don't.
Yes.
I think like
I think
between
so.
the first and the second one, it's these like subtle shifts. But then if you look at like the first one to like the seventh one, there's like a drastic shift in tone
Yeah.
in the things
Yeah.
that they're talking
So
about.
so is it safe to say that like when the first one was written, it's like the author had a thought that like I'm gonna get you invested in this one, and then hopefully as you get older, I'm gonna write the characters as they grow up with you, so that you continue to read the books until the end.
I think it's hard to say if we think that's what J.K. Rowling meant to do, but I'm pretty sure when she started them off as kids, you write them off to be as kids in authentic ways. But naturally, as they grow up, your characters start to change as you start to write them. You can't just keep them in the same way. I don't think it was intentionally written so that, if you like it enough, I have an idea for when they're going to be 17 or 18.
I think that it's hard to argue that there wasn't a full plan going into that. Whenever you walk into a pitch meeting to like pitch a script, like you have your backups ready in case that they love that. They're like, oh, I love this book.
Yeah.
How many more do you have on you? And you're like, oh, well,
Yeah.
I have a plan for 7 books. And they're like,
Yeah.
money.
What?
Mhm, yeah.
I agree. I think she must have had that ready. Though if you think about the first book and film, like it almost is complete enough that it could stand alone. Like if,
Yeah.
if,
Oh,
if
interesting.
everything failed, like I think the first one could have just been its own thing.
I think that can be said for a lot of different franchises too. Like the first Star Wars was just Star Wars when it came out, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And like if you can just watch episode 4 and it's an open and shut story. And the
Yeah.
same thing could be said for like The Hobbit. The Hobbit is very much a standalone adventure.
But the Hobbit, the book, yes, but the movie was definitely
Oh,
planned to
Because
be
they milked
yeah.
the shit out of
the
that.
movie
yeah.
was
I
a
mean,
joke. The movie was an embarrassment in my opinion.
Yeah, we don't talk about the movie. That was a money making scheme.
100%.
Yeah, sadly, but
Do you think then, does becoming a franchise kill quality at some point? Can it kill quality? Do you think it kills quality?
Well, in the
Or not.
case of Fast and Furious, yes.
In the case of Star Wars, maybe
Yes.
yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but yeah.
In the case of Lord of the Rings, because you just said
Yeah.
The
The
Hobbit
Hobbit,
wasn't
yes.
very good.
even Harry Potter.
Well, I
was
mean,
think
Fantastic
the
Beasts.
Hobbit's different though.
Fantastic Beasts 1, I feel like wasn't that bad.
One was
I didn't
okay,
see 2.
2 was an embarrassment.
Really, I thought the second one was better.
Whoa.
I don't know if
Yeah.
I can be on this call with you anymore.
I haven't seen it, but I have not heard that.
I
Wow.
thought the second one was better, only because I thought it was getting like darker.
Mm.
So
yeah.
like the tone I felt helped a little bit.
I felt like the writing was just really bad, and there was so much like dumb fan service.
Yeah, that's fair.
I feel like I remember your rant about it, Philip, being like, like I still haven't seen it, but I just remember Philip being like, every time they got a chance, they were like, "Do you know Harry Potter?" Like, what about Harry Potter? Like,
Wait,
like,
in Fantastic Beasts?
you said something like that. I
No,
remember.
yeah,
I don't think they mentioned Harry Potter. Yeah, because it's a prequel.
Oh, there's some kind of Dumbledore. They talk about, they go like Dumbledore, like they like are referencing all the things from Harry Potter as much as they can.
it's like that TikTok trend where they're like, "Tell me you're a Harry Potter fan without telling me you're a Harry Potter fan."
I just remember like the second one being, or at least I thought it was better because they started hinting at this like homosexual relationship that Dumbledore was having.
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
man.
If I remember correctly, and I was like, oh, like I wonder where they're gonna fucking take this. So like I was kind of interested to see what they were gonna do, and I don't even know, is the third one still even happening?
Probably
I
not.
hope not. Probably though.
But anyway, Harry Potter as a franchise is still is a classic to a lot of us and very dear to most of us.
Yeah. But does franchising make the content
Yes.
better? Not always. But I think in the event of like video games, I think that happens a lot more often, where it's a lot more successful.
Yeah, but I'm thinking about actually Star Wars. I think got better after the first film, but it's like it reaches a point where it stops being better because it ends up getting
Was
like,
so different.
like ruined by greed or by just like we gotta make money, so let's just churn
I
out
think
whatever we can.
I also think the nature of franchisement has changed since the first Star Wars was made. Because, like we were saying earlier, Star Wars was a pretty early example of the modern franchise.
Yeah. And then actually, I wonder, like, what about Marvel then? Is Marvel itself a franchise, or are the individual movies, the characters, the franchise then?
I think as a cinematic universe, it's a franchise. I think you can make that argument.
Yeah, because
I think I was gonna say that's the only one I can think of
that kind of
actually
got better with time, but has its hits and misses because it's such a massive franchise. There's so many characters, so many other side plots and storylines that we have to follow. Not all of them are hits, but then when it did hit, I was just like, it took 13 years for them to deliver that kind of.
But that's probably what's so brilliant about it is like there's so many that you can like, you know, not see one, but in the end you're gonna be like, wait, I have to see that one now because in the one where they all get together, they mention this, and if I didn't see that one movie, I don't know what the fuck's going on. So no, I have to see it. So it's fucking brilliant in a way.
I think there's a through line here in that we've been talking about franchises, and most of the franchises that we listed off are sourced off of like single creators. So like Star Wars was George Lucas, J.K. Rowling with Harry Potter, J.R.R. Tolkien with Lord of the Rings. And then the point at which that they really get bad is when like the original creators are like less and less and less involved. And
Pushed aside, yeah.
I think why Marvel is like built to last and has been so successful as a franchise, arguably more successful as a franchise than as standalone anything, is because there were so many creative hands in each of these characters, in all the comic source materials, that there's just this like huge birth of content to come off of source material, that like there's no one creator taking away from it. And so what you're seeing is like a collective vision versus a singular vision taken away.
Yeah. I see what you mean.
Yeah, because it's funny enough because I was gonna say that I think it's interesting you bring up Star Wars as an example, because I actually think the ones that George Lucas had less hand in were the better ones, because like
Like
5 is
5 and
considered the
6.
best one.
Oh yeah.
I mean, obviously, like this isn't like an end all, like a blanket statement that applies to everything, but I do think that there's something to be said about Marvel specifically being sourced from so many different creators versus
Yeah,
just one person.
But it's
I
still
totally
head
agree.
by one. I'm not saying Kevin Feige is the reason why, but then it's like there's one like creative director that gets to pick and choose people he believes are going to be the
Yeah.
right fit.
I think, yeah, I mean, just to keep bouncing off your points about Marvel, I do think that what the most successful thing they've done is allow interesting creative people to have a chance to do something interesting and unique. And I think that's what they keep kind of doing, is almost reinventing themselves. Because I was looking at the list of like movie franchises, and I'm like, most of these are trash now. Like, I think you go far enough and most of them end up being bad. The only other one I saw that I was like, maybe, is like Mission Impossible. I think he's done a good job. But
Oh, actually, yeah, you're right.
but otherwise, like every other one, I'm just like, nope, that got bad, that got bad, that got bad. You know, like it's really interesting.
That's something that I like about British television shows, is that they'll run for like 2 or 3 seasons and they just like unceremoniously axe their shows.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, maybe I wish there was more of a lot of those shows, but I'd rather be left wishing
you'd
there was
stop.
more than like
Yeah.
groaning about how terrible they've become.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love when a show knows to stop. Like,
Which is what
and
makes
and
me
it's some
so.
Ameri-
It's
Sorry?
something that makes me really sad about the Firefly reboot. Like Firefly,
Oh, they're coming back?
yeah, they're
Oh.
rebooting it on Disney Plus, and I'm just so against that, because you know what? Those 14 episodes are some of the best 14 episodes of TV. Hashtag fuck Joss Whedon.
Yeah, I know, right? We can't like Joss Whedon, but we gotta love Firefly. 'Cause it's so
I still
good.
love Firefly.
I still, I don't know if I ever told that story, but like there was like this dinner, there was like this cooking class I took with Daryl, and people were talking about The Mandalorian, and all I did was basically rant about how Mandalorian is basically Firefly, and none of them knew what the fuck I was talking about. And I was like, how do you not know? And there were people older than me, and they didn't know what Firefly was. And I was like, how do you not know what Firefly is? Like, it's such a classic television show. But yes, I agree. British television knows when to stop.
But you know what made Marvel? The fact that it kept going and people were like, you guys should stop now. I think
Which
a
is
lot of
interesting.
people were like suffering from superhero fatigue. And unlike the vampire and werewolf YA fatigue, Marvel just kept going and it got better.
Well, it's starting to get dark outside Philip's window.
It's
and
definitely
which means
dark
I
now.
think
It's dark now.
so. I had one other question, but I'll leave it to the ethos, and I won't ask the question because it might spark even more time. So I'll end it with this: is that, are there any other franchises that you are either are, so you've kind of mentioned Marvel a lot? Are there other franchises you're excited about? Do you think there are any things that you could see becoming franchises that you're excited about in the future? It could be video games. It could be anything. Like we've been kind of mostly talking about movies here, and we didn't even get even touch the surface of video games. And there's a lot you could talk about there. And because like it's kind of the same thing where like at some point video games kind of maybe lose their quality, but you're right. Maybe they do eventually maintain the quality. But anyway, is there any franchises that you guys are excited about in any form of media?
I think I'm most excited about God of War, because I feel like with the release of the last one, it was like a whole resurgence of the character, and it was just the character being completely different from just like this rage monster in the first three, you know. And so now it's like it's shifted where he's like this this dad figure, and now he has to teach his kid that like rage isn't going to solve all your questions. So there's a big dynamic shift into it. So I'm like super curious to see where it's going to go, because it feels like, I mean, it's hinting that it's like the end of Kratos, at least.
Yeah, dude.
So I'm super excited to see where that goes.
Cool.
If it is in fact like the end of Kratos that's like coming, it'll be interesting to see if they push the franchise past that with his son.
With the
And I
kid,
think
yeah.
that'll be kind of like a litmus test about like abandoning source material once again, of like what happens. because God of War is, built around Kratos, right? And it's like, can God of War continue to stand on its own without that character?
I feel like Metal Gear tried to do it, but I don't think it panned out right.
Anyone else? Any other franchises you're excited about?
I mean, I talked about it last week, but I'm excited for The Last of Us to see how that transition goes onto HBO.
Yep. That's a good one too to test.
And then, I'm really just like beating a dead horse at this point, but Dune. I can't say Dune enough.
Yes. Dune and Marvel are like our true north. We keep just referring to it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
every 2
We're really
episodes.
just like, One for Safety is really just like the Marvel and Dune Power Hour fanboy experience.
I know, for real. And I never even was that big of a Marvel fan until I feel like we started this podcast.
Neither was I.
And then I'm like, well, you know what? Marvel's pretty good. Like, it took that long.
Honestly, before Endgame, I was so lukewarm on Marvel. I was like, yeah, I'm kind of over it. It's like, whatever. And then I watched Endgame and I was like, suddenly every other Marvel movie ever made was like genius.
Yeah.
Wait, yeah.
Shit.
Endgame or Infinity War?
Endgame.
Infinity War for me
Infinity War I thought was much better.
got me back in. I was like, all right.
Infinity War was great. I went before Endgame. I was at this point where I was like, it can't get better than Infinity War. Infinity War was like the peak. Endgame was gonna be garbage, and Marvel can't go anywhere from here because they did it. They just like capped themselves. And then I watched Endgame, and I don't think that Endgame was better than Infinity War, but I do think that it like so perfectly wrapped up phase
I
3
agree.
of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And then after that, like watching WandaVision, and it's I hate how much I like Marvel now.
And here we are back on it again. Power Hour.
Power Hour.
Join us every Wednesday where we gush about how much we hate Marvel.
Yeah, it's true. Leatrice, do you have anything that you're excited about?
Yeah, beating a dead horse. Yeah, I'm excited for Dune. I want to see if they actually do it well enough to make a successful franchise with the second movie. And then video games, let me think. Oh, there's
You're excited to see if they Dune it justice.
Oh.
Moses finishes his drink.
Yep. What the fuck?
What the fuck?
what am I thinking of? There's that video game. It's not Last of Us. I keep thinking Last of Us, but the one.
Horizon Zero Dawn.
No, the
Yeah, it looks
one
good.
with the girl who could change.
Life is Strange.
Yeah,
Control.
Life is Strange.
Okay, I have a new one coming
Yeah, they have a
out.
new one coming out,
PS5.
and then Madison sent me the trailer for it, and it's a girl whose power is rooted in empathy. And
I never got to Life is Strange 2, which is funny because I love Life is Strange
yeah, Life
1,
is
and I just
Strange.
never did 2.
Two is okay.
one-
Yeah,
one-
pretty good, but
1 I just was like, I can't do anymore. Like
I'm excited that they have
gets.
managed to kind of turn it into a franchise, because now they have different characters. They're introducing a completely new character, this girl who goes to a small town, her brother dies, and then she's trying to figure out what's going on with herself, and it's about empathy, like a superpower about empathy. And I was just like, oh, that's okay.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, that's cute.
Yeah.
I'm probably that.
Okay. All right. Life is Strange.
Strange.
I guess
Alex?
I don't know. I'm excited about the new Batman. I guess it's technically a franchise.
yeah.
I don't know if it's gonna be a franchise. I'm curious to see what they do with that.
Batman already is a franchise.
Yeah, so I guess is this part of that franchise? Batman.
Hmm.
Yeah. I want to see what they do with Robert Pattinson. I'm sure it's gonna be good. I'm curious to see what they do with DC now. Actually, I'm genuinely curious to see if Zack Snyder gets a shot to keep going. We haven't
I
talked
don't
at
know.
all about DC, and I'm really genuinely curious.
I think they should just cut their losses.
We talk enough about DC. We talk enough shit about DC. So it's like,
That's what I'm saying. But now are they gonna
Yeah.
get that? They're gonna get that chance to prove everyone wrong. But okay, I mean, if that's what you guys are excited about, I think yeah. I mean, we just scratched the surface, but I think that for the most part, franchises, there are some good ones. maybe over time franchises do lose quality. It's hard to say for sure, but either way, there are franchises that we're going to continue to watch anyway, because that's if anything, that's what franchises are good at, is getting their claws in you and keeping you in as a viewer. With that being said, though, that's going to do it for us on this episode about franchises. I hope you enjoyed and listening to us talk about franchises. If you have any thoughts about franchises or some of your favorite franchises, let us know. We'd love to hear anything we forgot or didn't mention, or whether or not you think that eventually franchises do lose their quality. You could do that by going on to our Instagram and hitting us up in the DMs, joining our Discord. We now have a new section on our Outer Heaven Creations website that has all of our links to everything there, so please check it out there. All of the episodes are up there, so if you want to listen to it there, which would be weird, you could go to your Spotify. I don't know if you want to keep it open in the tab, but just in case you want to listen to it on our site, you can. But either that or Spotify or Apple Podcasts or any other podcast services that we have it on. We have it on a bunch of places, so check it out and let us know what you think. But until then, this has been another episode of One for Safety. Thanks for joining.
Let's go to outer space.